What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Panthers Advice. Man, oh man, do we have a lot to talk about today. We've got two big names who visited the Panthers yesterday. The Panthers are bringing back a safety from last year. All right, we'll talk about that in a little bit. 5 players / coaches who may be on the hot seat after this year. But first up, let's jump into the fire, shall we? Let's jump into the fire. All right, we're going to look at Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft. Now, I came out with the mock draft this weekend. Woo. People do not like Jalen Walker out of Georgia. Let me say, it's not that they don't like him. They don't like him for the Panthers, all right? To me, probably my favorite prospect for the Panthers to get at number 8. What did everybody like? Everybody seems to like Mason Graham, all right? And that's where Daniel Jeremiah has Mason Graham going to, all right, the Panthers at 8. Jalen Walker is actually going at 5, so maybe he's not a bad prospect after all. No, I'm just messing with y'all. However, here's my thing with Mason Graham. One, as good as he is, I don't see him falling to the Panthers at 8. The thing with Jalen Walker was a lot of people want to see more from him, more production. That's fine. I get that, right? I'm basing it on potential. Mason Graham has shown you he can produce. So I don't know how he's going to fall to the Panthers at 8. The second thing is, Panthers running that 3-4 defense. You got Wharton, you got Bobby Brown, you got Derek Brown. Where do you guys kind of see Mason Graham playing? Honest question. Let me know in the comments. So, just showing you guys a mock draft, showing you if the Panthers get Mason Graham, I'm not mad at it. But we'll see what happens. He's got Jalen Walker going at 5, top 5. Mason Graham going at 8. All right, but also in this mock draft, if you look, let's take a look real quick. He's also got Tet falling all the way to 22. There's no James Pierce Jr., which I know a lot of you guys love James Pierce. He doesn't even have him in the first round. All right. Shamar Stewart all the way at the end of 32 to the Eagles, which would be insane. Michael Williams all the way to 28. We'll see what happens. I just want to show you guys if we get Mason Graham, I'm on board. I'm just curious on where he's going to fit on that team and who he's going to play under. All right. But with that being said, man, let's keep it going. Like I said, we got a lot to talk about today. Next up is Nick Scott coming back to the Carolina Panthers. All right, this one, it shocked me a little bit, but it didn't. And we're going to sum up this article real quick. So it says right here, the Panthers have a depth chart at safety. Now, it's probably meant to flip that back, but the Panthers add another safety to the depth chart, bringing back a familiar face and solid special teams player. The team brings back Nick Scott on a 1-year deal Saturday. 29 years old, 1-year stint with the Bengals, comes to Carolina, originally 7th-round pick, spent 4 seasons with the Rams, where he won that ring. All right, played in 10 games last year, 4 starts on defense. My thing with Nick Scott was that he never figured out the defense. And, it wasn't just Nick Scott. It was all of the safeties. You look at the snaps, 324 give or take. 149 on run defense, 174 on pass. And in just that little amount of snaps, right, on coverage, you could kind of tell he looked lost. But he wasn't the only one, all right? Everybody looked lost for Carolina. So why is Nick Scott back with Carolina? Because the Panthers need a body for now until we figure out what's going to happen with the rest of the spots for the safeties. Because as of right now, it looks like this. Damani's starting at free safety, all right, and then under him, you got Nick Scott. Strong safety, Trayvon Milrick. Nobody's under him for now. So they bring back Nick Scott, add another body to the roster. But now let's talk about this right here. 5 Panthers firmly on the hot seat after the frantic 2025 free agency. Hats off to the Panthers, man. They went crazy this year. Definitely shocked me given how the past few years have went. Let's see what Dean Jones says right here. Now, this one's interesting about Aviro. All right, Aviro's first on the list. And the reason this is interesting, if you were to go back like 365 days ago, maybe more before Canales was hired, everybody wanted Aviro to be the head coach. Everybody. Maybe not everybody. I kind of wanted more of an offensive minded because that's kind of where the league's going, right? But I wouldn't be mad if we would have hired Aviro. Fast forward a year later, people want him fired. So it went from last year to please be our head coach to this year, please fire this man off the team. It's crazy how things can change in just a short amount of time. I mean, a year is a long time, but at the same time, it's not, if you catch what I'm saying, right? A year ago, hire me as the head coach. A year later, fire this man from the team. So he was number one. I found it interesting, and I don't blame him for being on the hot seat given how the defense looked. Now, with that being said, there were injuries, and I don't know that we had the right personnel for the scheme, but it is what it is. Next one is A'Shawn Robinson, and people are hot on him. All right, and A'Shawn, I go back and forth on. I could be, kind of making excuses for him. And what I mean by that, when I'm kind of trying to help out A'Shawn Robinson, is that if your nose tackle, right, whether he's a shade, head up on, or whatever it may be, if he's not succeeding, you're not getting any pressure from the outside backers, it's going to be hard for the ends to create some pressure, right? That's the whole point of the 3-4 defense. All right, you got guys on the outside who can come in on a blitz every now and then. If they're not doing anything, interior guy isn't doing anything, it's going to be hard to create pressure. Now, with that being said, A'Shawn definitely could have improved, don't get me wrong, all right? But really nobody did a lot on that defense. Let's keep it going, all right? Trevin Wallace, this is the one I didn't agree with, okay, because the Panthers took him knowing it was going to require some work. They didn't expect Shaq Thompson to go out with an injury, right, for the season. They didn't expect Josie Jewell to miss time too, all right? And then Trevin gets hurt. I mean, like I said before, with the Vero, a bunch of injuries, and Trevin Wallace I'm not worried about. I still want to see him play outside, but we'll see what happens. DJ Johnson, this is one I agree with. Now, here's the thing with DJ, right? You got to show me something after 3 years, all right? Drafted in 2023, give me something. Even if you don't have a breakout game until the middle of the season, you have a few more after that. At least showed me you learned something the past 3 years in Carolina. Let's keep it going. Who's up next on this list? And number 5, that's Mr. Austin Corbett. This one I'm kind of back and forth on, okay? I think he's going to be a body, right, to back up the guys we currently have. And that's up to him moving forward if he wants to go sign with another team after this new one-year deal contract. I don't know that he's on the hot seat. It's just, to me, he's just a body for the Panthers. All right, that's my take on Austin Corbett. I don't know that he's on the hot seat. It's just he's there to back guys up. But now let's jump to some fun stuff real quick. We're going to talk about our first safety that visited the Carolina Panthers, Julian Blackmon. Now, as you can see, a bunch of news articles about him, visiting the Panthers. But I want to see what the Colts fans had to say on Reddit, all right? And as you can see, all positive. Such a shame. So good. Promising his rookie year. Bummer. Julian always played bigger than his size. Fearless, And this is where you get that real stuff, right? When the fans are mad, they go to Reddit. You kind of type anonymous, right? How do the fans really feel? And for Julian, the Colts fans seem to like him. Our other safety we're going to look at, not so much. But let's keep it going about Julian real quick. Look at some stats and injuries and then go to the film. But now let's look at the injuries for Julian. 2020, completely outright. Knee, back, Achilles, ankle, shoulder. All right, so you can definitely see there were some injuries with Julian Blackmon, which explains kind of why the Colts are moving on from him. But if you look right here, all right, games played. 2021, he missed quite a few, but 14, 15, 16. So even with the injuries, he still played in a lot of games, to be honest with you. And as I go through his film, I see this right here is a true free safety. So as you guys know, free safety, all right, he's got it all, right? It could be it all. It could be the middle third, whatever it may be. But when you watch him play, you can just tell, man, he's built to play free safety. He's just so smooth with everything he does, right? Here's going to get a pick. All right, this one's going to almost fall into his lap. But when I watch Julian Blackmon play, I'm like, this is what the Panthers are missing. All right? I watch Xavier Woods. I watch Nick Scott. I watch them all. When I watch Julian right here play, look at this. Great pick right here, but watch how he plays this real quick. So the reason I love this play so much watching Julian, all right, we're going to pause it right here. This defender is giving this receiver inside leverage. All right, so he's expecting help from Julian right here. The other thing to think about, all right, you got your slot guy on the inside right here. Julian could potentially have to pick him up. He has to watch this receiver right here. All right, what they're trying to do is they're trying to run Julian off this way. All right, that way they can go backside with this guy right here and run him over the top. But watch how Julian plays this right here. The second he sees that quarterback take another step back, take a look real quick. You're going to see right here, all right? He takes another step back. Look at Julian. Bang. He's running right there with that post route, right over the top, and he's picking it off. This is what I mean when I say this is a free safety that the Panthers need right here. Now, yes, he has injury concerns, all right? So it all depends on the contract, but when you watch this guy play, like right here, it's just smooth. I mean, it's as smooth as butter. And then a player I want to look at where he doesn't pick the ball off, but I want you to watch him kind of in coverage, see how he plays things. Bear is essentially running a wide cross right here. Bang. Run him across. Take him deep. All right, you got Julian right here. Once again, watch how he plays this. All right. He could have tried to cheat up right here and play the tight end. He doesn't. He stays with the outside receiver right there. And you're going to see right here, if Caleb was going to try and go deep, I mean, look at the steps Julian would have on that. So I like that right there. He's not trying to cheat the play, which is what the Panther safeties kept trying to do time and time again. Right here, cover two look, you're going to see the same thing. All right. Caleb tries to go deep right there on that corner route. You're going to have Julian right here. And look, if Caleb is on target with that, that ball's picked off. And then right here against the Panthers, all right, a little out, bang, slant over the top right there. And look at them switch. So, watching Julian, I would be ecstatic if the Panthers signed him, you know, for the right contract. Next up is Marcus Williams. Now, Marcus is he's an interesting one to look at. And as I went through the film, this comment on Reddit, like I said, I go to Reddit because I want to see what do the fans actually think, right? Because when you can type anonymous, it's almost like I look at Reddit and Twitter, not Twitter as much as Reddit, but when I look at Reddit, I almost think of it like kind of drunk thoughts, right? Or drunk words, because you're hiding behind a username, right? So when I go to Reddit, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get the real, authenticated, drunk version of what people think of these players. And as you can see, they weren't too happy with Marcus Williams. But like I said before, as I was watching the film, this comment right here, it summed it up perfectly. It's like he literally forgot how to play football over the offseason. It's shocking how bad Marcus has been. If he keeps this up, his contract could reach Earl Thomas level bad. Now, with all that being said, I love this comment right here, though, even more. Because they talk about how good his PFF rating was up until the past 2 seasons in Baltimore, where it plummets to a 50.9. And they talk about, is it the staff? Is it the players? Is it the communication? How did he just fall off just like that? Doesn't really have an injury history, all right? 2022, 7 games missed. 2023, 3 games missed. That's about it as far as I could find. And you can see right here, he got benched, all right? So 2024, he got benched week 10, week 11, all right? Then he had the injuries right here these 2 years. Everything else, though, he's pretty much played almost every game. But now let's look at the film. All right, and now why am I using this right here? Why am I using 50 right here? Because when you watch Marcus Williams, you're just confused. Okay, now this one, Jamar Chase kind of does him dirty. All right, take a look at the route he's going to run. So, depending on, kind of the route combination here, we're either going to pick up him, or we're going to pick up him over the top. And take a look. He's going to have Jamar Chase. All right, take a look right here. This guy, I think Humphrey right there, Marlon, he's going to pick up him. All right, which means Marcus is going to have Jamar. Jamar's going to go out, come back in, completely turns him around. I'm like, okay, Jamar Chase, top 3 route runner in the NFL. I'm not mad at that one. Then we see this right here. Okay, we see a little screen pass. We got Marcus Williams, top of your screen. I'm like, all right, Chase might get 10, 15 yards, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. All right, Marcus, you're not helping your case, my guy. And then right here, Jamar Chase is going to get it at the 50. I'm like, all right, Marcus, you got to give me something, my man. You got to give. And then this is the one that went viral on Twitter. All right, because you're going to have Marcus essentially try and cheat up. And this is what I was talking about. Watch Marcus right here. He's going to try and cheat up and try and bait Burrow into throwing that, right? Take a look what happens. He cheats up, and Jamar Chase goes bye-bye. Marcus is a strong safety. Maybe he was a free safety before. He is a strong safety now. He's got that ball hawk instinct. In today's league, where it's passing heavy in the NFL, being that free safety that plays like that isn't going to work anymore. It's just not. Right here, let's take a look what happens against the Bucs. So you're going to see on this play, Marcus is going to wave off the DB right there, basically saying if he comes that way, I got him. You play right here, and take a look what happens right here. A little mesh concept underneath, he's wide open. And that's why I kept that Reddit comment in there talking about communication, because as you can see, man, the Ravens DBs, communication was not their strong suit. Right here against Bowers from Georgia, he picks them up well, but then the QB scrambles. Or I think that was Minshew. He gets the throw off. This one I'm not mad at, right? He does his job right here, but Minshew's going to scramble. He's got all the time in the world, and then bang, hits Bowers. So Marcus Williams, to me, he's clearly, at this stage in his career, he's a strong safety, right? He's a ball hawk. Now, there are some positives to him, though, right? When he's playing that strong safety-esque position, watch him break on this ball real quick. Bang. The way he's watching the quarterback, he breaks on it. You see the difference between him, all right, and the first guy we looked at. A huge difference in the way they play. Right here, once again. All right, take a look at this. You're going to see Marcus top of your screen. Right here. Now, the receiver's going to fall. But you can just tell, Marcus, I'm telling you, he's meant to be a strong safety. Now, I would be excited for both. Maybe not excited, but I would be happy for both. Because I think both of them bring something that the Panthers don't currently have. Trayvon kind of fits that role a little bit. I think Trayvon would be a better strong safety than, all right, Marcus Williams. But I would be happy to have either one given, the right contract. So with that being said, that's going to wrap it up. We are going to do another mock draft. I'm trying to decide, do I want to do a live stream? Do I want to bring a few of you guys in, kind of a stream yard like I'm doing right here? Have you guys draft with me? I'll figure that out over the next couple of weeks. Let me know in the comments your thoughts. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take it easy. Panthers advice is out. Peace.